MrBeast is getting sued and called a bully. Leah Remini sues Scientology. That Tik Tok defamation case finally has a ruling and a very stern warning from the court. Cardi B suing Tasha K and more on the Tati Westbrook suit and what's going on with Hayley Paige and JLM Couture. This week, we have a lot, so we better make it quick. Let's get into it. I'm legal analyst Emily D. Baker. This is the Quick Bits, where I break down just the main points of the pop culture and entertainment cases I'm currently covering on YouTube and the Emily Show podcast. Let's get into it. This is Quick Bits covering the week of August 7th through the 11th. Now, MrBeast sued in federal court. This company is suing him in state court. The contract has an agreement that New York is the proper place to sue, but it doesn't say federal or state. So I think we're going to see them fighting over jurisdiction for this lawsuit in both places before it substantively moves along. I don't know if this is going to be helpful for the company. I don't think these lawsuits are going to be damaging to MrBeast brand. I think they're going to be annoying, but I don't understand why these parties can't, well, yes, I do. The company doesn't want to give up a very lucrative partnership with MrBeast, and MrBeast wants to be gone. That's why it won't settle, but probably will down the road. I also talked about the Kohberger alibi. The defense attorneys, in an abundance of caution, said, look, this isn't really an alibi defense, but he was out driving by himself, and we're going to elicit that information through cross-examination and expert witnesses. There is still an ongoing battle over what DNA will be turned over from the initial DNA profiles formed. There's a hearing on that next week, and I will be covering that hearing when it is publicly available. In the podcast, I break down the Leah Remini suit against Scientology. There are 9 causes of action there, alleging everything from stalking and harassment to defamation to seeking declaratory judgment that all of this behavior that is alleged is illegal. And the Church of Scientology responded on their official website with a statement that seems to prove the point of the lawsuit. In the official statement from the Church of Scientology, they say that the lawsuit is ludicrous, that the allegations are pure lunacy, that Remini spreads hate and falsehoods for a decade and is offended when people exercise their free speech. They say that she is obsessed with attacking her former religion, that she's profited handsomely off her fabrications through the sale of, quote, hate books, hate podcasts, and paid for tabloid hate television. They say that her propaganda has been exposed. They also say that if she can no longer get a job, she has no one to blame but herself. Obviously, they say everyone in Hollywood knows what we already knew, that Remini is a horrible person and toxic to so many who have the misfortune to come into contact with her. They end their statement by saying that the church is not intimidated by Remini's latest act of blatant harassment and attempt to prevent truthful free speech. If Remini does not believe in free speech, then she should consider emigrating to Russia. So the statement is an adventure in and of itself. But Remini has claims for not just harassment, stalking, and defamation, but also things like intentional interference with contractual relations, saying that campaigns against her podcast and their sponsors have caused her financial damage. This is going to be a long one. That battle in court is going to be substantial. The discovery is going to be substantial, and I will be keeping an eye on it. There is finally a ruling in the Tik Tok defamation case wherein a TikToker accuses a professor at the University of Idaho of committing the murders of 4 University of Idaho students. The court is having none of it and granted the university professor's motions to dismiss the TikToker's counterclaims and to dismiss the lawyers out of the lawsuit. This was granted with prejudice, meaning that there are no counterclaims that were alleged that can be brought again, though the court does carve out a caveat saying if evidence like facts are discovered that go beyond speculation of the TikTok psychics' spiritual witnessing of the case, then they can make a motion with the court to bring counterclaims again. What was most interesting about this is the court strongly worded in one of the most strongest admonishments I've seen a federal court make, strongly advised, and this is directed at the pro se TikTok defendant, about future behavior in court, saying, quote, but due to the very sensitive nature of this case and its impact to both litigants and non-litigants alike, the parties are on notice that the court's tolerance for any disregard for court procedure or basic human decency is limited. With this in mind, the court's current refusal to assess sanctions against defendant does not foreclose the possibility that sanctions may be appropriate later. This is the court equivalent of you are very close to the find out part of fuck around and find out. So the court is going to be keeping a very a very close eye on what's happening in this case as the defamation case continues to proceed. And in our catch-up stream, we talked about Hayley Paige, the wedding dress designer who was sued by JLM Couture, the company she used to work for. That lawsuit has not progressed past the preliminary injunction stage because that preliminary injunction has been litigated up and down on appeal. And the court found that Hayley Paige, in fact, violated the preliminary injunction, not only sanctioned her by holding her in contempt for violating it, but awarded JLM attorney's fees in the amount of just over $118,000. Every ruling that this court has brought down has been in favor of JLM, but the court's findings are again up on appeal. This case is 3 years old. Will we get to the merits of this case and the trademark infringement, trademark dilution, who owns social media accounts with the name Miss Hayley Paige? Maybe at some point, but it's going to be a while. And Cardi B is suing Tasha K. Tasha K, the YouTuber who defamed Cardi B and lost at trial, lost at appeal, and then filed for bankruptcy in the state of Florida. Cardi B sued inside the bankruptcy court, asking the court to determine that Tasha K could not discharge or write off and get rid of the over $3 million judgment. It's almost $4 million, $3.8 million judgment owed by Tasha K and her company. So Cardi B is asking the court to determine that because that is willful defamation, defamation of a public figure, that it cannot be removed. So even if Tasha K goes through bankruptcy, that she will still have to pay this judgment to Cardi B. So that lawsuit in the bankruptcy court is just getting started. Then, with regard to the Tati Westbrook case, and this is between YouTuber and beauty influencer Tati Westbrook and her business partner, you remember the one back in 2020. This is a lawsuit because of the defendant's greed. Well, that lawsuit is set for trial in February 2024, and they are finishing up discovery, depositions, and other examinations. But sanctions in the form of attorney's fees were also awarded to Tati Westbrook and her companies against Clark Swanson to the tune of a little more than $29,000. So, though not every ruling in this case has gone in favor of Tati Westbrook and her companies, a lot of them have. And as this goes to trial, all 5 cases that were outstanding are smooshed into one in Nevada. And the case, again, is set for trial in February 2024. That will be a very interesting case to see how this all shakes out 4 years after this litigation began. And finally, the Britney Spears case has been kicked out into the summer of 2024 to determine that 12th accounting, attorney's fees, and more. It is now in the slog of a discovery referee fighting over what information gets turned over to who. But we're not going to have resolution on the 12th accounting till the middle of next summer. And with that, hopefully this was helpful, got you all caught up and quick. I will see you in the next one. For deep dives into the stories that I covered here, you can find them on my YouTube channel at The Emily D. Baker and The Emily Show podcast. I stream every Tuesday and Thursday. The podcast goes live on Wednesdays. And if you want more Law Nerd community, come join us at lawnerdsunite.com.